I'm going to be explaining the response to selection equation, which is R equals H squared times selection, which is the response is equal to heritability squared, or just the heritability, times the selection differential. Now, heritability is the fraction of phenotypic variation that is due to additive genetic variation, which means that we can have some heritability that's due to genes and then some that are due to the environmental factors. So we're going to be looking at a population for beak length in inches. If we have an average beak length of 6 for the parent generation and a favored beak length of 3, we can use that information to find the selection differential and then ultimately the response, R. So to find the selection differential, we have S equals 3 minus 6, giving us -3 as the selection differential. And let's just say that our heritability is 0.3. So we would multiply our 0.3 for heritability and our -3 for selection, for our selection differential, and we get a negative zero. We get a negative 0.9. Okay, so we have R equals a negative 0.9. So now we can look at our F1 generation, so our offspring, and we can find the average beak size for our offspring using the response from the parent generation. So, and we do that by calculating the average beak length of the offspring, which is going to be the average parent beak length, which was 6. And usually you would add those together, but since we have a negative 0.9 as our R selection, or for our R, we subtract. And so this gives us an average beak length for the F1 generation at 5.1 inches. So when we graph that, we have the average for the F1 population being 5.1 inches, and our parent population had an average beak length of 6. So this equation does make sense, because in the parent population we originally had an average beak length of 6, but since a smaller beak length is being favored, is being selected, we would assume, and from this equation it enforces the fact that if a smaller beak size is selected, the next generation will ultimately have a smaller beak size, which is true. It went from the parent size of 6 inches and decreased to 5.1 inches for the F1 generation.